Okay, we are up to number 19, which involves selling bags of peanuts. 6-ounce bags of peanuts is the size they use in the book, the question that I have in the book. We don't care about the 6 and the 6 ounces. We care about the number of peanuts in the bag. I don't know who counts them, but if you're in industry, I guess you'd have to. I changed the numbers a little bit just to illustrate a point that is made in some of the other questions on this material. And also, you have the numbers and answers and stuff in the book that you have, so I changed them just to give you some different things. What I did is I said the mean number of peanuts per bag is 120 and kept the same standard deviation of 20, and I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. But if we have a mean number of peanuts of 120 and a standard deviation of 20, and it's a normal distribution, then we could get right here in the hump of our bell curve where most of the bags of peanuts fall. You have more of them with 120 peanuts than anything else. If it's normal, that will be the most common number of peanuts in a bag, will be 120. And if we just start counting off the standard deviations, adding 20 to it, because standard deviation 20, 120, 140, 160, 180, etc. I'm just adding 20 each step of the way, subtracting 20 this way, 120, 100, 80, 60. So this will be one standard deviation above the mean. That's two standard deviations above the mean. There's the mean. That's one standard deviation less than the mean. Two standard deviations less than the mean, etc. That's what these numbers are. If you start counting off the standard deviations, and in this case, each standard deviation represents an increase or decrease of 20, that's when we get these other values. And that's kind of a common sort of way of looking at these, of just sort of organizing what you have on this. Used to be probably more common than it is today, because back in the old days, before you had the internet, a lot of times they would follow a 68, 95, 99.7 sort of rule. I didn't put a percentage sign. I'm going to put a percent up here. What this is that between 100 and 140 peanuts, peanuts, the proportion of bags that have between 100 and 140, so within plus or minus one standard deviation of the mean, would be that 68%. So we'd have 68% here. And you can see, if I just think area under this curve, that's going to be the biggest part of it, because that's where the peak is. If we go one more standard deviation out, so we're two standard deviations to the left, two standard deviations to the right, between 80 and 160 would be 95% of the bags. And between these ones, three standard deviations on either side would be 99.7% of the data, 99.7% of the bags of peanuts. What those number of standard deviations is, there's actually a name in a stat course. If they talk about z-values, that's what it tells you. The z-value tells you how many standard deviations from the mean you are. So if we are at the mean, that's a z-value of 0, because you are 0 standard deviations from the mean. If we get one larger, it gives us a 1. Two larger gives you a 2. 3 standard deviations above is the z-value of 3. One standard deviation less than the mean is a z-value of -1. Two standard deviations less than the mean is a z-value of -2. 3 standard deviations less than is a z-value of -3. They actually give you formulas which you won't really need to know probably, but in case any of you are wondering, I'm using the letters that they use in stat classes. The X is your raw data. It's that there. It's the number of peanuts per bag. That there is the average or mean. That there is the standard deviation. So if you wanted to, you could find out the top of the fraction is how far away from the mean you are. When you divide by the size of the standard deviation, it tells you how many standard deviations from the mean you are. We're going to erase this because you don't really use it in this course. It's just there in case you want it. Anyway, what they asked you for was for the probability that the next bag has more than 150 peanuts. So if I look up here and I locate that, 150 peanuts is right there, right in between the 140 and the 160. So I'm looking for this shaded area, like in some of the previous questions. We just did one not too long ago where we were finding the probability that a randomly chosen point in the xy plane between 0 and 1 for x and y, that it was above the line y equals 2x. Got a 1/4 out of that, and I'm talking about the areas representing the probabilities. Well, the shaded area represents the probability that the next bag of peanuts has more than 150 peanuts. So we need to find that shaded area right there. that shaded area, it's kind of going to be somewhat represented by these numbers 68, 95, and 99.7. It's just not going to quite fit perfectly because we're right in between these two values. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use green since I don't have it. I'm going to go to that 68%. That 68% is the amount of the data that falls between plus or minus 1 standard deviation of the mean, which means that from here to there, between these two z values, one standard deviation smaller, 1 standard deviation larger, 100 peanuts to 140 peanuts, we'd have a total of 68% split between these two pieces right here. If that total is 68%, then each one of these has to be 34%. So I'm going to write a 34% right here. Kind of hard to keep my hand out of the diagram. But 34% plus 34% is 68. So we should have 34% of the bags having between 120 and 140 peanuts. As for whether that would be including the 120 or the 140, a little gray area there. Stats, this is really a continuous data set, whereas if you're counting peanuts, you don't have all the decimal points. We couldn't have 139.5 peanuts. It just wouldn't make any sense. So we're just sort of getting a ballpark figure for this. But 68% there would be 34 in each one of these halves. For the 95 and the 68%, what I would do is I'd recognize that the difference between those values is going to be these regions, this region here, and sort of erase this whole thing over here, and this region. These two together are the next piece we're adding to the 68% to get to the 95. So I just subtract 95 minus 68. That equals 27. We have to have a total of 27% in these two, which means that we want to take half of that. And we should have 13.5% in each one of these regions. I'm going to put down a 13.5. I'm just going to drop the percent. We're talking percentages. We're going to remember it's percent. It's kind of hard to write it in there. I'm going to put a 13.5 here as well. So we got 13.5% in this piece, etc. If we repeated the process, this minus that is 4.7. That 4.7% would be the amount that's, I'm just going to write it above it, split between this section and that section, 4.7%, because that minus that is the extra. 4.7% divided by the two different regions is 2.35% in each one of these. The entire thing is 100%. We're missing 0.3% from this. That 0.3% has to be split between the two tail sections. So we can get 0.15% on each extreme ends. Those are the ones that are way out there, way too large, way too small. Anyway, so we have the different regions here mapped out. If we go back to our 150, it kind of means that we're doing half of this region here that's 13.5%, except that it's not really half of it. We're doing half of it this way, but we got to think in terms of area. So if we look at this, we're on the shorter side of this chunk. So we're not going to take half of the 13.5%. We're going to take less than half. So 4% maybe. We might have 4% there. Who knows what? If we have a 4% there and a 2.35 plus that, that's 2.5. We get about a 6.5% when we add up all these numbers. Roughly. So roughly a 6.5%. You always want to scan your answer choices when you're doing a multiple choice test. Hopefully they're not super close together because you're not allowed to use a calculator on this test. So if they make them too close, they're kind of being a little bit rude. We don't have any real way of figuring it out exactly without using calculus, and even then, doing the integration is kind of a pain. You'd want to use software. But if we look at it, if I just did half of that and said 6.75% plus an extra 2 and approximated, 6.5% plus 2.5, I get about 9%. Only one of these numbers is close to 9%. right? If I just approximated 9% instead of 6 or 7%, we're somewhere around here in that ballpark figure. To convert those to proportions, we're looking for a number that's about this large. And only one of the answer choices on my particular test review, only one of them is remotely close to those. That would be answer choice A. And if you're wondering how I'm looking at answer choice A and saying, well, I'm going to choose it when I gave different numbers, I gave different numbers for the mean. I did not give different numbers for the standard deviation. All changing the mean does is it shifts this curve somewhere else horizontally. The actual width of it's going to be determined by that, and I did not change it. The fact that I didn't change the 20 kind of means that I gave you the same basic question. I just took the bell curve that they drew, and when they gave a mean of 230, I think it was, their numbers, this 120, would really have been 230. And then they would have started adding 20s to it. So everything I just talked about would work exactly the same. When I talk about measures of central tendency, they're talking about what the values are. Well, where it is horizontally on a number line does not change the actual width of it. Oops. So if they don't change the standard deviation, you have the exact same width for your curve. We just would have had it shifted to the right a few places. I'd have to change this to 260 now too, I guess. Same exact question. The width is not determined by the standard deviation. Or the width is determined by the standard deviation, not by the mean. The mean just tells you got a number line. Mean just tells you where you're drawing the peak. But if we have that sort of a shape and they do not change the standard deviation, and they just give you a different mean, it's going to be the same shape, the same width, just moved over somewhere. Looks a little fatter, but I just freehanded it in a matter of a couple of seconds. Be the same shape, just shifted. If they change the standard deviation, that's when you start getting the wider curves or the super tall, skinny curves. But we didn't change the standard deviation, so we kept the same shape, moved it over, and you should really have gotten 1.5 standard deviations, 230 to 260. So distance of 30. They gave you a standard deviation of 20, so that's 1.5 standard deviations, so we were still exactly right there. So that was number 19.